All right, so we're beginning from where we stopped in our previous class, right? And I mean, that's super cool. We've been able to implement the delete function, right? And of course, we can add and would see it added, and of course, we can delete it, right? So this was where we stopped, right? And for today, we'll be implementing the edit, right, so that we can change the name we have here. So what we'll do is when you click on this edit, right, so a modal shows up for us to put the name that we want to update this name with, right? Okay, so the first thing we'd want to do is to change this font, right? So let's just go to Google Fonts, right? In Google Fonts, we can do a search, right? So let me just do Poppins, right? So if I do that, this is Poppins, right? So let's go to get that font, right? So I would come and click on, I think I don't need this. So let's just stay with Poppins. So I will just do this and copy that. So here I would come to the header. So in the head, I'll just put the link, what I copied from Google Fonts. And to get it up, so I'll just do a style tag, right? And inside the style tag, I'll pass body, and I'm going to say font family, and that's going to be Poppins, right? So save that, and I would come refresh and pull out so we can see the changes there. So let me do Shola, hit on it. Let's do Bukola, hit on it. Yeah, so we get this. So that's good, right? So now let's start our work proper. So what we're going to do now is to have the modal content, right? So let's start building that up. So let me first of all just spread this out because we won't be needing that anymore. Okay, so right here, just under this our input, I'm going to create two tags, right? So precisely div tag, right? And in here, let me just put modal content, right? So just something like that. So if I should refresh here, we would see this. So that's good. So now we would come and prepare the modal. So I'm going to say, let's do a fix, right? Give it a background color black black and what else again. So let's save. So if I save and refresh, we would see all black here. So we want it to start from this edge here. So for that, I'm going to say insert to be 0. So if I save and insert, right, to 0, and if I save, we'll see this. So let's reduce the opacity of that, right? So I'm going to say bg opacity, and let's do 16. So if I save and refresh, we'll see this, and here we can see our model. That's it, right? So the next thing I would want to do is to have it at the middle. So we'll just say justify, that should be center, and I'm going to say items, that should be center as well. Okay, I think everything is good. So this is going to bring this content to be at the middle here. So if we refresh, we would see it here, right? So that's good. So let's come to this other part here and say class, right? So I'm going to give it a width of 300 px is fine. I'm going to give it a min h of let's say 100 px, that's fine. And what else can we do? So let's give it a background color of white. Let's do a border. Let's do px to be 4, and maybe py to be 2, and let's do a text of excess, right? And let me save this, right? So if we save this, we're going to see this. Okay, so that's good. And I think I can now do rounded to be empty so that we just have a curve at the edge. Yeah, so that's good. So we would want this our modal content to be here and a close to be here, so that we'll click this edit to bring up this, and click the close to take it out, right? So I would remove these and just call a p tag, and bring it down here. So this p tag will just call button. Okay, so this is going to be closed, right? So right here we'll call class. So I'm going to say upper case, and what else can I do? Okay, so let's just do want to be bold, right? So if we save this and we refresh, we would see this here, but this is where we would want it to be. So let's see. I think what I can do is to cut this off and put it inside a div tag, so that in here I can call class and say flex width to be full, justify to be between, and so let me put a line on that. So I'm going to say border b, and let's do border which will be gray of 300. Then let's do pb to be 3, and I can say pmb to be 3 as well. So if I save that, we should be able to see this, so that's good. All right, so just underneath here we're going to call the inputs. So let's do this, and let's see. So I'm going to call button again, and this button will be update inputs, right? So something like that, right? So if we save this and I refresh here, we will see this. Our input is here, but yeah, that's it. So in this input, I'm going to call class. So let me do a width of full, so that it takes the full length, right? So if I should refresh here now, okay, so let's look at these, and I can see. All right, so we have this. Okay, so that's good. So let's do border to be maybe gray, and that will be 300. Px to be, in fact I could just do, so let me do px to be 2, and maybe, in fact let's just do p to be 2. Yeah, that would be okay. What else can I do? Let me save and let's refresh this, so we can have the all of this. Okay, so that's not bad. That's not bad. So let's call border, because I can't see anything there, so border. All right, so for this my button, I would want the button to be here, right? So let me just remove this and do div and pass it there. So I'm going to give it a class name, say flex width to be full, then justify to the end, right? So save that, and let me do empty to be 2, right? So for the button again, we're going to say border, and I'm going to say border to be maybe gray, and we're going to give it 300. So let's fix this, right? So great, 300, px to be 4, py to be 2, and rounded to be md. So save this, let's refresh. All right, so this is not bad, right? This is good. All right, now that we've gotten our model here, so the next thing we would want to do is, when we click on this button, it should go out. When we click here, it should come in. Before we start that, the first thing I would want to do is to ensure that we're starting it being hidden first, right? So that if I refresh here, this is where we're starting it from, right? The next thing I would want to do is to pass an ID, right? So that we can target this stuff, right? So we'll do model, right? Okay, so let me close here, so that we'll just focus on this, right? So I'm going to say function, and that would be, let's say, update. So let it be open model, right? Okay, so I need to establish maybe like three stuff, or one to be precise, right? So let's call this update um, um, model, right? So let's call it update model, and that's going to be equals to document dot get element by id, and inside there we're going to pass our model, right? So that's good. Okay, so we're going to target this model, enter into the class and enter into the class and change this hidden to be flex, right? So let's do that now. So I'm going to say update model dot, of course we'll target the class list, and inside there we're going to say, oh, we want to add, what do we want to add? We want to add flex. Now as we're adding flex, we need to remove hidden, right? Because we want to do this back and forth, right? So let me save this, and I'm going to duplicate this, and this one here is going to be for closing the model. So this will be closed, here will be hidden. If we're closing, we're hiding, and here will be flex, we're removing the flex. So save that, and for here, which is this close, I'm going to say on click, right? So that would be the close model, right? So let me just copy this, and for the edit, which is here, right, which is there, we're going to say it should be open model. So we save this. Now if I should refresh here and click here, we see this model. Click here, it closes, right? So that's what we want to achieve. The next thing we're going to do is, when we click here, we want to ensure that this input is triggered, right? So that's because that's focus, right? So to do that, first of all, we need to pass in an ID for the input, and this is the input here. So this is the input, right? So I'm just going to come here and say ID to be equals to, so we're going to say input, I'm going to say input update or something like that, right? Yeah, so input update. So let me duplicate here and just pass that input update. So for here, I'm going to say input, right? So I would copy that, come down so that I can say dot focus, right? And of course I'll make sure that it's what's been selected as well. So let's just do select, right? So save that, right? Let's refresh again. So now if I click here, you can see it is selected and it is active, right? So that's the idea for that focus. The next thing I would want to do is, if we click on this book color, right? So we should see book color here, right? So in order for us to achieve that or to get that, we need to come to this input, right, and pass in value, almost the same thing that we have here. Remember that this is the name, right, and this is the index. So we kind of need that, right? So let me just copy this and paste it here. Let's see to know why I can see this red virus. So let me just do a refresh and just copy this, right? So yeah, I'm going to do this. Okay, so in this open model, we need to pass in this argument, right, so that our code does not crash. So this is it, right? So I'm going to say name and index, right? So these are the two things which I want to collect, right? So if I should come here first of all and do console.log, and I say name and index, right? So save that. Let's come here, refresh here, and I would want to call in that. So let's do, okay, so I have this guy up. So if I should press on this, and let's see, so we can see Peter and 0, right? So if I should click on Bukola, so we can see Bukola and 2, right? So which is the name and the index, right? So we're getting that. So that's what we would want to pin, right? So what I'm going to do now is inside of this my input here, which is this guy here. So I'm just going to copy it and say dot value, and that value would be equals to name, right? So let's save that and let's see what that is going to be now. So if I click here, we can see Bukola is here. So that's what we want. So having done this, let's go prepare our back end, right, to be able to receive this stuff, right? So in our back end here, so we already have our delete endpoint, we have the add endpoint. So now let's create that for the updates, right? So I'm going to say at app.route, and remember that we were creating the endpoint, so this is going to be update, input update. I feel that would make better sense. So input update, and remember we need to pass in a method, right? Yeah, so the method is going to be a patch because this is an update. So we'll create a function. So let's just call it update input. And so the first thing first is for us to have access to the list, right? So let's just do that. The next thing is for me to say data will be equals to the request, right, dot get underscore JSON, right? Okay, so let's get the index. So that's going to be data.get, and we'll pass in the index. Of course, we'd want to do same for the name, right? So let's just say name, and here I'm going to say name. Okay, so that's how super simple it is. So just to be safe, right, so let's just do this. So I'm going to say name is going to be name, and we're going to say index is going to be index. Okay, so so that our code does not crash at us, right? So let me just do this, right, and let's just sit down. Okay, so save that, and this endpoint, let's copy it, come here. So let's say we want to create the function for the input update. So I'm going to say input update, right? So let's do this. So let's see. I'm not sure this would go down with. Okay, this is update input. So input update. So let's just first of all say console.log. Let me just do this. So save this and refresh here. So this function, I'm going to put it inside this button here. So right here, we're going to say click and call this. Okay, so refresh. So now if I should hit here and I click here, so we can see that that button is working, which is good. So what I'm going to do next is put in this modal, right? So that if the button, if the update is closed, so it does the update and close, right? So that's super cool. So we can see this, right? So that's good. Now the next thing we need to do now is to call our fetch function, right? So let me just oops, not that. So that's going to be, copy this, so that's going to be this, right? So and we're going to call in method. Remember, it's a patch method. The next thing is headers, and that's going to be content dash type, and remember it's going to be application slash JSON. All right, so lastly is the body, right? So we'll say body, and that's going to take in JSON.stringify, and inside here we're going to pass, we have name, I suppose, and let's do this, and we have index, right? So let's do this. So for the name, remember that this is the name, so I'll copy that, I'll paste it here. Now for the index, of course we really need the index. We need to find a way to capture it, right? So from this side here, we're getting the index, but we're not serving it here. So what I'm going to do is, in this input here, I'm going to maybe like duplicate this, right? And for this, we're going to say maybe this is going to be index, and I'm going to say type to be hidden. Yeah, so the type is going to be hidden. Right, so the type is going to be hidden. Yeah, so that you won't see it. It's there, but you won't be able to see it. So the reason for that is because we want to store that index inside there. So let me just duplicate this, paste this here, and for this I'm going to say this is going to be index, right? So let me copy this right here. Yeah, so this now is going to be the index value, so that's good. Then I can now copy and pass that index here, so that's good, right? So again, just to ensure that this ends, so I'm going to say .then rest, and so let's have this trigger. So here I'm going to say this is going to be let it return res.json, right? And then I'm going to say el, so this is going to console log what that el is. So I would save this, seems good. I would refresh here, seems good, right? Remember that this is what we want to see. We want to be sure that we're getting the name and the index right here, right? So now let's click this. So I click this and I hit here. So yeah, so we can see that we're getting the name and we're getting the index. And at this front end here, we can see, of course, we're just calling done. That's the reason why we're saying this, and should be expecting a JSON, right? All right, so since this is good here, so what I'm going to do is to remove this, right, so that we can just call and JSONify, right? So let's pass that. So this is for if these, right, so we're going to say this is for false, right, and would say error. Oops. I think we originally have it as error, and that is mapped to error. All right, so right here we're going to say if index is not null, right? It's not null, then this should happen, right? So what do we want to happen? What do we want to happen? Remember that we have access to the list, so we want to get the index, right? So we're going to say index, but note that this index that is coming is a string, right? So we would have to convert it to int, right? All right, so now that should be equals to, this particular one should be equals to the name, right? So I'm just going to pass the name there. So if everything is good, which I believe that everything will be good, so we'll just pass this return. Let me copy let me copy here, so save this, come here, paste it here, so that this becomes true and this becomes data, right? This becomes data, and here would be our list. So that becomes our list. So I save that. Everything seems cool here, right? Now let me refresh here and let's hit it out again. So if I come here, we see this, let's do 2, and I hit on this. So if we come here, you can see that the name works here, right? If I come here, you can see there is an update that happens here, and you can see it has been updated. So that's good. But we are not seeing the updates here, so that's a quick fix. So to fix that, do the thing we've already done this our UI update, right? Which is this here. So I'm just going to copy this UI and come down here. Of course, we don't need this anymore, so I'll just paste that, right? And inside here, we're going to pass our el dot data, right? So because of course you know it needs an array, so that's what we're going to pass here. Then one more thing I would want to copy, that would be this part here that is removing that is clearing the DOM, right? That's clearing the DOM and putting up the update. So I'll save this. If I should refresh here now, we would see this 2. So I want to change this 2 to 4. So if I come here, remove this and do 4, if I hit here, you can see 4. So that's good. Now if I hit here, we're not going to see anything. The reason for that is because in our update here, we do not have the on click, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the edit. Yeah, so this is the edit, copy this, then come down to the update, yeah, which is this edit, and paste it there. Again, remember that we don't have access to this, so I'm going to remove this and call it this. So this is going to be item. So the same thing we would do here, and this is going to be this. Let's close this. Yeah, so save this. I should refresh here, then let's try it out again. Everything should be fine. So if I hit on here, change it to 6, update, we see the update. If I hit it again, we can see that. So change it to 5, that's been updated. James, right? So let me change James to Sunday, right? And we hit on that, you can see the update. Now we can delete, and oh, you can see we can delete as well. We can quickly do something, right, which is this point here. I can write a function that says if so let me just call this, right? So which is this. So if we have this list, so let me say dot length is less than 0, right? What should happen? Let me just have a div here. Okay, so let's just there's no point in it, so let me just close it and come here, refresh, and let's do this. And time is gone. Wow. So we spent over 25 minutes, right? So that's the reason why I would want to stop here. But I strongly believe that you guys have gotten it. So what we've been able to do, we've been able to add, right? So let's say we have beta 23. So we've been able to add. We can update, right? So let's change this to 21. So that's update, and we can delete, right? And of course for reading, right? So we've been able to implement the CRUD function. I trust that you guys get value from this. If there's any issue, please drop it in the comment section and I'll be glad to attend to it. Peace out. Yeah.